Hi, this is Mrs. Ferris and welcome to Monday is Funday. If you're not familiar with this program, what we do is, we have a story and then we're going to do a craft together. So let's start off with our story, and it's called, Can I Be Your Dog? It's written and illustrated by Troy Cummings. And it's published by Random House. Oh, do you see what he's doing? I didn't know dogs could write. Dear people at the Yellow House, woof! Can I be your dog? I'm potty trained and I have my own squeaky bone. Also, I love to play. I see you have a cat, but I'm willing to work with you. Who's a good dog? I am. Sincerely, Arfie. P.S. I know every house on Butternut Street, but I asked you first. Dear Arfie, we are so sorry, but you cannot be our dog. Our cat is allergic to dogs. Good luck in your search. The Honeywells. That's not going to be his home. Dear Butcher Lady, can I be your dog? I think your butcher shop would be a great place for a puppy like me. I could keep the floor nice and clean. Arfie, what do you think? Look, pal, I've got a bone to pick with you. Last time I let a dog into my shop, a dozen meatballs went missing. Sorry, but there's no way I'm taking in a pooch. Veronica Shank, Butcher. P.S. No hard feelings. Enjoy these dried kiblets, and good luck finding your home. Nom, nom, nom. He ate them up. So he tried again. Dear Fire Station number 5, can I be your dog? I can fetch your boots. Plus, let's just say I know my way around a fire hydrant. I've sniffed out every single one on Butternut Street, and yours is the shiniest. Arfie. This is from the Butternut Street Fire Station. Dear applicant, thank you for your interest in working with the Butternut Street Fire Station. Unfortunately, the position of fire dog has already been filled. We will keep your letter on file. Best wishes in your search. Station number 5. Guess he didn't think much of that. But he kept looking. Dear junkyard guy, I'm not gonna lie, you're my next to last choice, but, well, these past few days have been rough. Rough, rough, rough. So please, can I be your dog? I don't eat much, and I can bark if people try to steal your junk and stuff. Hopefully yours, Arfie. Do you think you'll be able to have a home at the dump? I don't think so. Dear Mutt, get lost. Dear last house on Butternut Street, can I be your dog? I see that your yard is full of weeds and your windows are broken and there's a funny smell, but I'm not picky, just lonely. Arfie. What do you think of that house? Looks kind of abandoned to me. Oh, this one got stamped, return to sender. Nobody at this address. And do you know what his response was? Arrgh! Poor Arfie. There he is in an alley. And I can't tell whether he's shaking the water off of him or if he's still barking or crying. But he found a box and he went in and slept there. And the next day, there was an envelope taped to the box. An envelope with a heart on it. And it was addressed to Arfie. Dear Arfie, can I be your person? I need a friend who will be with me no matter what, snow, rain, heat, or gloom of night. And I see that you already know everyone on Butternut Street. I know you'll make a first-class partner with hugs and head scratches. Mitzi Whipple, letter carrier. P.S. If you agree, meet me at the big blue mailbox. You know what a mail carrier is, don't you? It's a mailman or a mailwoman. There she is. Do you think he'll come? She's waiting right by the big blue mailbox. Oh, did he ever come? He came with the letter, and he came with lots of kisses. Dear Mitzi, you know what? My tail has been wagging ever since I got your note, and my answer is yes. Truly yours, Arfie. P.S. Woof. And there she is, giving him some scratches on his head. And that's how Arfie found a home. And at the back of the book, it talks about how you can help a homeless animal. So that's Arfie. Can I be your dog? And I'm going to get ourselves ready for the craft that we're going to do, which is to make a doghouse. So I'll be right back. So are you ready to get a little crafty? Today we're going to be making a special photo frame for special people in our family, our pets. This is what it's going to look like, and I'll tell you exactly how to make it. The first thing you're going to need to do is gather your supplies. You're going to need some craft sticks. These look like popsicle sticks, but they're a little bit wider. You're going to need 8 of those. You're going to need some heavy-duty scissors. These are ones that we're going to be using to cut some of the popsicle sticks. So that's why we want to have them be heavy-duty. We're going to need some paint. I have some red and some brown acrylic paint. I got these at Walmart. They're about, maybe 50 cents to $1 a bottle, and they last a long time. You're going to want some brushes to use for those. Some bowls that you can put the paint in. I also like to keep a bowl of water handy when I'm doing some painting, as well as some paper towels, dry ones and a wet one. I recommend having some clothespins. We're going to use these to hold our pieces of craft stick together while they're drying. We're going to need some glue. I'm using tacky glue. Mine is getting a little thick, but it'll still work well. You can also use hot glue to hold your popsicle sticks together, and they will actually adhere to each other faster if you use something like that. You're going to want to have some white cardstock or heavy paper. You may want to have a marker. And let me think if there's anything else. Oh, probably the most important thing. You're going to need a picture of your pet. This isn't my pet, this is my son's dog, but he's part of our family, so that's what I'm using. So let's get started. When you're doing a craft project, you want to make sure that you're in an area that is craftable. I have a placemat I have down on my table so that I can protect the table from any of the paint or the glue that I might be using. If you don't have something like that, you can even get a piece of foil or saran wrap or wax paper to cover your work area. And that way, when you're all finished painting, you can just crumple it up and throw it away. So let's get started. Let's take our 8 craft sticks and lay them out. And just to kind of show you how they're going to go together, I'm going to put 4 off to the side. And I'm going to have 2 that are going up and down, like that. And I'm going to have 2 that are going across, lying on top of those first ones. And if you notice, that makes a square. And that square is going to be the opening of the doghouse. Then you're going to want to have 2 more craft sticks that will go up from the upper corners. And mine will look upside down to you, but to make the roof. And then the final two are going to be placed underneath those roof structures. And as you can see, they stick out a little bit too far. So we're going to be cutting them off. So what you can do right off the bat, maybe take a pencil and just mark one of those craft sticks where it will be passing underneath the roof supports. So there's one that's going to be like that. Take your last craft stick. We're actually going to use that for two of the slats. So lay it down, make a mark where you're going to want to cut it, and then go ahead and cut the two that you made the mark on. You're going to want to make, just kind of mimic the other end by rounding it if you can. So I'm just going to draw on there what it's going to look like, or to give me a line to cut. So one's going to be a little longer and one's going to be a little shorter. So then I'm going to take my scissors and very carefully cut it. And it will splinter, but this is going to be underneath. So that's what one will look like. That's the shorter one. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. And if you hold it tight as you're cutting, this may be something you want to have mom or dad do, but it's less likely to splinter. So there's the other one. And then I've got two pieces left over. The larger of those is going to be the upper part. So I'm going to put that on my roof support. And again, just like I did before, I'm going to make a mark where I'm going to want to cut it. And then cut that off. So now I have three of those pieces that are going to go across. I have one that's long, one that's middle size, and one that's a bit shorter. Okay. And don't throw out that last piece, because we're going to use that down at the very bottom on the back to hold our picture in place. So the next thing you're going to want to do is to paint your pieces. So the four that you laid out are going to be red. The pieces that you cut are going to be red. And the two others are going to be brown to be the roof. So I'm going to stop here, paint mine quickly, and then show you how to assemble it. So maybe we'll just show a little bit. So now we're going to paint ours. The four that you put together in a square are going to be red. The three pieces that you cut are going to be red. And the two remaining pieces are going to be brown. So you can get out your paints. I put mine in a little bowl to make it easier to use. I've actually painted one of my brown ones already. You only need to paint on one side, but I do recommend painting the edges. And then they're going to have to dry a little bit. So you just paint. Go around the edges and set it aside to dry. If you get some on your fingers, that's when you can go ahead and take that wet paper towel and just clean off your fingers. Once you've got those painted, you need to do that edge, set them aside. I would say take your paintbrush. If you're going to use the same one, you want to rinse it off so it's totally clean, no more brown paint in it. I'm going to use a different brush, so I'm just going to set mine in a bowl of water and let it soak so that it doesn't dry on the brush, but it will keep it from, we can get it nice and clean. So I'll put the brown paint away and then get the red paint out, and then I'm going to paint the long ones, the four long ones, and the three that were cut. Once you've finished painting all of your sticks, they're going to need to dry, and you can clean up your hands and we'll get back to it in a second. So now that all of our sticks are painted and dried, we're ready to assemble it. So take your two brown ones and stick them off to the side. Take your three cut pieces and set them off to the side. We're going to start working with just the four red pieces of craft stick. So you're going to want to make a square. And that's why I like working on something like this placemat, because I can use the bottom edge as a guide. So I'm going to put 2 of them out like that. And I'm going to lay one of the others on top so that it's flush with the bottom and covers from end to end, or from side to side, however you want to say it. So when I get that positioned right, then I'm going to take my glue. I went and got a new one that's going to come out a little bit easier than the other one I had. And I'm going to put some glue on all 4 ends. And I'll put 1 stick on and make sure that we've got it even. Just like that. Can you see that it looks like, well, to me it looks like a letter U. Then I'm going to take the other full red stick and put it on the other side. And again, matching the rounded corners on each one. And when you do it that way, you do wind up with a square. Now, if you want to wait until it dries to start playing around with it, that's probably not a bad idea. And I do recommend using these clothespins just to hold things in place. You see how easily mine just came apart. So I'm going to put the clothespin on and hold each one until it dries. And you really only need to use the clothespins if you're moving it around a little bit. I didn't really mean to move it, but I did move it. So I'm going to hold it in place. Get it squared up again. And the glue doesn't dry instantly unless you're using the hot glue. If you're doing hot glue, you can glue it and you'll be ready to go right away. Just take a look at it, make sure that it looks like it's flush and square, and then you can let it dry. In the meantime, you can lay out your roof pieces, which are the brown ones. See how they're going to fit. And then you can also glue the top of those once you get the angle right. You'll put some glue on there. Check it again to be sure that you've got your angle right. And once again, I would put a clip on it. Do you have another paper? And let it dry. But then what you're going to want to be able to do is turn that over, and you're going to be putting your red pieces on from the back. So I'm going to just move my square base over. I'm going to use my first red one, bring this down to me a little bit, and then I'm going to be able to glue it right on the back. I don't know if you can see that. I'll turn it around because it's really going to make more sense this way. You're going to have it go like that, so that when you turn it around, the red shows through. It's good to have a little bit of a gap at the top there. Can you see through there? Because if you want to hang this, you can put a string through that way. So once I've got that, then I can glue that on in place. You take the next size, and you're going to glue that just a little bit below, so leave a little bit of a gap. And at this point, it might be easier to put the glue on the red painted piece. Put it right at the end, and then position it down there. starting to look like. And if a little glue comes through, it doesn't really matter. You can wipe it off with a little of your paper towel. And then you'll do the same thing with your larger cut red piece. Put a little bit of glue on the end. Just like that. And then position it below. So it looks like that. And as I said, I've got a little bit of glue on there. I'm going to clean that off. And you will have to wait for it to dry. And we wait again. While you are waiting though, you can make sure that you've got a piece of cardstock. This you're going to be using for the backing of your photo frame. And when you glue it on, you're only going to glue around the U that you originally made. Don't put any glue on the top because you're going to want to be able to slide your picture in from up there. So while you're waiting, you could take your red bottom part and put it on the cardstock. You're going to want to make sure that the cardstock goes almost to the outside edge of the craft stick on both sides. So you can mark that with a pencil. And then cut that. And you may need to trim it when you're getting ready to put it together, but this gives you an idea of the size of it. So it's not quite a square, but should be close because what you're doing is a square. But it's a little smaller than the outside edges, so I think that'll be fine. I may need to trim one side a little bit. But I don't want to trim it too much because I want to be able to glue it to the frame. And when that is dry, it doesn't take very long. You're going to turn it over, and you're going to want to remember to have, this is the tricky part, when you make your frame, you want the bottom and the top craft sticks to be resting on the two upright ones. So I don't know if you can see that. This one's in the front, this one's in the front, these two are at the sides, in the back. So I can take my cardboard and see, cardstock. You can see that it's just a little bit smaller than the frame I made. So I can take my glue, and this is called drawing a bead of it. I'll show you what that means. that's drawing a bead of it. So I've got glue going down this side and this side. And in the bottom, do you remember those extra pieces that we had when we cut the parts for the roof? We had some leftover pieces. Probably you had one piece left over. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to glue it right in here. And I'll tell you why. When I put my picture in, I don't want it to slide all the way through. I want this to stop it. This doesn't have to be painted, but it'll go right in the back, like that. If you want to trim it, you can. It's easy enough to just take your scissors and just trim off a little bit along the long edge. That one broke right off. And that way it won't show at all when it's in the frame. And then take a little more glue and put it in there. And then I can take that piece of white cardstock and stick it all the way around my frame. So it's like that from the outside, like that from the back, and it's an opening at the top so that when I want to slide in my photo, I can just slide it in like that. So we're just waiting for the roof to dry. I don't want to rush it, but I'm kind of eager to have it done. Just going to clean off a little of that. I think I'm going to have to wait a little longer though, because those pieces aren't quite stuck. So maybe if I put a clothespin on it, it'll hold it in place while it dries. But then eventually what you're going to do is you're going to just attach that on like that and put your picture inside and you'll be all set. And that's what it'll look like. As you can see, I put my son's dog's name right there. His dog's name is Otto. I put a little bone on it. You could put a dog dish in front. You could put some grass in front. And then I cut my picture just enough that I can slide it in. And if, whoop, slid right through, didn't it? If you find that your picture does that, you can also glue the picture in there so that it's just like that. Since our theme is tails and tales, we're inviting you to take a picture of yourself reading a tale or a story to someone that might have a tale at your house. So take a picture of you reading to your dog, your cat, your fish, your hamster, your ferret, your snake. And if you don't have a real live animal as a pet at home, well, you can read to a stuffed animal, but send us a picture of it. We're going to put up a Reading Tales to Tales gallery here at the library. So I hope that you enjoy making this craft. I still have to wait a little bit more for my roof to dry, but this is what yours looks like. And I think it's a kind of a fun and nice looking craft. So hope you enjoyed it. And join us again next week. We'll have another story and another craft for our Monday is Funday program here at Wood Library. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.